Welcome back to Talk of the Town, and I'm joined now by our news partner, Phil Anderson for U.S. Senate. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
And now you always want to talk about the hard-hitting issues. I love it. You know, we just are going to dive right into it today.
Sounds good. That's what we try to do.
Awesome. And we're talking police and criminal justice reform, which with everything going on in Milwaukee, it's really hitting close to home recently. So we're just going to dive right in. Do you think there is an underlying issue between the police and the African-American community? And if so, what is it?
I think the underlying issue is that for a long, long time, politicians and political parties have been playing people off against each other. They try to get votes by offering things or offering a sympathy or a different idea of what's going on to people of color, people of different religions, sexual orientations, whatever. And that guides their policies and guides how they politic. So people end up having this impression that we're all set against each other when in fact most of us want the very same things. We want to live in peace, prosperity, and privacy, but we can't do that when we're constantly told we're different, we're entitled, we're being undermined, we're being discriminated against, all of these things. Insofar as they may be somewhat true, the answer is not to divide us, but to have a message of we're all in this together and let's figure out common solutions.
I like that. I like that mentality.
Oh, good.
And wanted to ask you too, do you think the government has kind of failed that population in the African-American community then?
Oh, totally. I mean, not only just the recent evidence of all the violence between people of color and the police, but look at statistics. The war on poverty started in the 1960s under LBJ. And since then, black families have become less and less two-parent. There have been less educational achievement, less wealth, more crime, and then add to that the war on drugs, which disproportionately incarcerates people of color, I mean vastly, despite the evenness of drug use between populations. The government's not only failed the black community, I would argue that they've been at war with the black community in that sense, pushing policies on them designed supposedly to help them, but in fact destroy their families and create adversarial relationships between them and the community and the police.
Do you think the Democratic and Republican parties have contributed to those problems?
Oh, they're totally guilty of that, totally. You hear the things that come out of, especially Democrats have been the party where they've put themselves out as being, helping people of color, helping people that are poor and are discriminated against. But their policies, as we mentioned, the war on drugs, the war on poverty. But then Republicans haven't been able to tell the truth about that either, and they're fighting for the same sort of slivers of voters, playing this identity politics and trying to play the same game as the Democrats do. Only Libertarians really come out and say, we're in support of solutions that create equality, that treat everybody equally under the law, like the 14th Amendment says. Others, Republicans and Democrats, seek to divide and gain favor with different types of voters. We're across the board, everybody's the same under the law and trying to attain the same things. And that's the best way to govern, and it's the least exploitive way to govern, and we'll have the best results.
So would you say that's the libertarian kind of outlook and solution to this issue?
Absolutely. On the federal level, let's scale back all these programs that divide, that pick winners and losers, all of these different things. Let's not continue to give military equipment to the police, because that creates a situation where people who are already having problems with the police and already under stress from the way the government does its business, the question that they have to ask themselves is why do the police have military equipment? Who's the enemy? Who's the enemy? When especially people of color, African American community are already disproportionately incarcerated, and now the police have tanks, MRAPs, things like that. I mean, it begs the question: what sort of power struggle is going on where the government's trying to assert its power over people that are the most defenseless? Black people, poor people, people of any minority population. It makes it just that much more difficult. So we need to scale that back.
Absolutely. And now with all this information and everything you see, is there hope for the future? Because I think sometimes it can really feel really hopeless.
There is, and actually that's a big reason I got involved in politics, and my core belief is that people have the solutions to their own problems. And within our friendships, our families, our neighborhoods, our communities, when we work together across the table, look each other in the eye and look for common solutions, that's when people act like people who love each other, who share, who do the things that we've been taught to do since we were little, to take care of our own business, clean up after our own messes, those sorts of things. That's where the power of the American idea is in the American people, not in government programs. They just serve to destroy, divide, and make messes like we've seen in Milwaukee over this last weekend.
Phil Anderson for U.S. Senate. Always great to have you on the show and hear your thoughts. Thanks for
very
being here
much.
today.
I appreciate it.
And thank you for watching Talk of the Town. You can find us next time only on Channel 57.